Okay, Canadian Grand Prix sprint. Let's go. Yep. So sprint qualifying, McLaren has it figured it out. They're already number three. They're very much catching up to Mercedes. Mercedes has a true demon to reckon with in McLaren. Lando Norris this season is so calm, so confident. He's already won the world. He has nothing to prove. This man is just going to race. He is in his Max Verstappen era where he doesn't care. He's just going to do it. And there's a high chance he'll be on the podium often than not. And if McLaren fumbles it, it's their fault, not Lando's. That's what I feel. And then there's Piastri, still as terrifying as ever. He's got some flaws. He's a little down this season because he could have won last season, but because of his own errors, he didn't. It came to a nail-biting finish, but it ended up with Norris. So Piastri has its own demons to fight with. But mainly what I noticed was McLaren is a true force to be reckoned with. Mercedes has a problem. And yeah, so the sprint lineup was mainly, I don't really care about the rest. The others also did fine when it came to qualifying. Red Bull also seems to have figured out bullshit. Yeah, lots of hope in the sprint. And yeah, so the race starts. The race starts with the Mercs right up front and McLaren behind them. Okay, so the race starts right off the bat. It's George Russell's time to prove. He's had a bad streak, 3 losses to a kid who's barely graduated high school. Yeah, this is scary for him. And yeah, he's on his path. George Russell is completely on his own element. He knows this track like the back of his hand. Both Kimi and George are strong in this track, but George just has an advantage. And he looked unbreakable. The race starts and both of them are off the line. Mercedes have nailed their starts. The one Achilles heel Mercedes had was their starts, and Mercs have figured this out. They go right off the bat and they fight each other. George gets a huge lead. Kimi gets another lead right next to him. And the Mercs are in the league of their own. They're completely on top. And the McLarens are right behind them. The rest are what we followed. The only interesting thing here was Colapinto. Colapinto seems to be coming on his own. He raced well. But that doesn't matter. What I'm here to talk about is what happened in the sprint. The story of sprint is McLaren are a true force to be reckoned with, and Mercedes has problems. So as the race starts, they fight each other, and the Mercs go forward. And right at the edge somewhere, I don't know which turn, but it doesn't matter which turn. George is fighting. Okay, George has found his element. George knows this is his time to prove, and George is pulling a proper Max Verstappen. Kimi tries to come through the outside to overtake in some turn. George pushes him right away because George had an advantage, and Kimi, being Kimi, he will not give a gap for free. So he kept pushing him, he kept trying, and finally they almost collide, and George technically doesn't push him off the track, but because Kimi was impatient, he pushed himself, tried to nudge himself in, and he went off the track. And then the true Kimi came out. He was no more big brother George, I love him so much. Nope. Kimi was freaking furious. He started nagging. He's like, that is not right. You shouldn't have left the gap. You should have left the space. And he became a full Alonso. He said, if you don't leave the space, it's not right. And they kept fighting. And for the first time, I saw Toto Wolff absolutely put Kimi down. He told him, the fighting is inside. We do not fight on the track. If you want to discuss this, we'll discuss this inside. Focus on the race. You cannot get distracted. And yeah, they had a huge fight. Essentially, Toto put Kimi down and, they fought. The whole thing is George looked like he was completely unbreakable. He knew what he's doing. He was just calm. He said, I did my thing because it's well within the rule book. And Kimi is now seeing the mental games that elite drivers do. And Kimi's getting prepared for it. The race ends with McLaren splitting the two Mercedes. The rest don't matter. Colapinto did well, and Red Bull seems to be getting out its own element. That's a good. Lindblad also did well, so I think Lindblad was the last point scorer. The rest didn't matter. What was interesting is finally these two are fighting, and it happened so much quicker than expected. And the good thing is Toto is letting them fight, letting them race. So yeah, it ended with George winning the race as expected. It was completely undeterred and expected. He was very much happy. Kimi could have come second or first even, but because of George's maneuvers, Kimi became third. And Lando Norris ever to take an advantage, immediately took an advantage, and he split the two Mercedes. Then there was Piastri number 4, and the rest were behind them. So that was a sprint. Interesting sprint. The story is basically the Mercedes have found their stride and they are ready to fight. McLaren is right behind them. They're waiting for any opportunity to completely steal from them. So if the Merc boys fight, it's going to be a Red Bull situation, Red Bull like situation. It's see at the moment McLaren just has to wait because Lando Norris does not need to win anything. He has nothing to prove. McLaren has nothing to prove. They just have to keep calm, carry on, push forward, wait for these two idiots to fight, kill themselves, and they'll just be getting podiums. That's what I feel is going to happen. And that was a sprint. It's an interesting foreshadow of what's coming. And lots of craziness happened in the race. It's race time. Right off the bat, the qualifying was crazy. It was the usual suspects. Then one Alpine out of nowhere. And I'm like, what the hell is an Alpine doing here? And lo and behold, it is not Gasly. It's Franco Colapinto. This dude, just take him to Argentina and his morale boosts up. 500,000 people like his whatever story, and he's got an entire country to support. So yeah, he is absolutely killing it. He qualified 10th, and in my eyes, that's huge for an Alpine, especially for Franco, who was struggling last season. And yeah, this time he's here to prove a point. He's having his own race, by the way. He's got his own story to tell. He doesn't care. He wants to find points out of hell, and he will do it. The rest was your typical lineup. Russell is on top. Kimi is not happy. Kimi is right behind him, and the rest were below. What's interesting is the Red Bulls have finally done it. They're not exploding Q2. They've made it to Q3, and yeah, they're 7th and 8th, I guess. It doesn't matter. But Isaac Hajar is right behind Max, and this is a race where Isaac has to prove things. He had a disaster last race, and yeah, Max also had a bad disaster last race. Hopefully, Red Bulls are getting better. The only interesting thing was Colapinto in the lineup. The rest were a typical lineup. Lewis Hamilton was above Charles, which is interesting to me because I consider Lewis washed, but looks like Lewis has still got some fight in him. Yeah, so that's the lineup, and we're heading to the race. In the race, the Mercs have got it. They fly, but something interesting happens. Right off the bat, Limblad has a disaster. I mean, his car does not start. They have to do a race restart twice or something. Limblad is just there like a cow, just destroyed. He's just standing there. His car's not moving. He doesn't know what to do. Then already it starts with a DNF, and this DNF is foreshadowing for the rest of it, and it's going to be a lot of DNFs in this race. I mean, I don't know what is going on with these regulations, but yeah, Limblad is gone. They do another, race start, and there is a small chance of rain, is what people are saying. I don't see it happening. Basically, most of the people are in regular slick tires, and there were some in inters, and all the ones who were in inters were the back markers. None of the smart guys did inters, apart from, say it with me, McLaren. McLaren did a magnanimous fumble. Both their drivers were on inters. God knows why. I mean, they have some historic level of incompetency when it comes to their internal team structure and strategy. I mean, who the hell is doing this strategy, is it like a monkey with two thimbles? What is this shit? Like, it's stupid. I don't get this. Anyway, so McLaren's strategy is trash. Yeah, they did the inters when all the big boys are on. Basically, see, the entire grid should essentially do whatever Hannah Schmitz does, okay? If Max Verstappen, GP, and Hannah Schmitz decide it's a slick day, everybody bloody well do slicks, because the moment they do slicks, or when Max does slicks, everybody benefits, I remember, I think Bortoleto asked, why are we on inters when Max is on slicks? And Bortoleto knows this. Bortoleto is a true racer. He knows exactly who is the right data. Red Bull has historically proven they're the best at data management. They are the best at strategy. That's the only reason they win championships. Of course, Max is a force to be reckoned with, but it will never work without the team being good. McLaren has a huge problem. I'm hoping GP going there will solve this insanity for them. But yeah, otherwise they made a great car. They have a huge, extraordinary set of drivers. And yeah, they start the race. And as expected, The McLarens are on inters, and Norris, being Norris, still finds a way. He fights that car from third. He gets an extraordinary start. On a shit tire, he gets an extraordinary start and he goes right to the top of the field. The race starts with him on the top of the field. And McLaren tries to pretend that there is hope, like they did something right. But everybody knows it's just a joke. Right around the second round or a third lap or something, Piastri already has to pit, and then the McLaren guy is pit, whatever. They lose a huge amount of time because of them being pitted, and that's how the race starts. So it's back to the same Mercedes boys. Russell's right on top, Kimi's right behind him. They're ready to fight. Okay. What's interesting is yo-yo racing has been figured out. It's become a true pace situation. They've done something with the battery deployment, and the super clipping is reduced. The cars have become smarter, faster. The drivers know exactly how to control these cars now. So it's very interesting. Okay, so the race starts. Limblad is dead. Something horrible happens to Limblad. Lando gets on gear, he pushes himself and moves forward, and they leap forward. And then that doesn't work because, McLaren has a shit strategy. Their entire thing is stupid. Their whole plan system is stupid. And they had to pit, and they had to change tires, and they lost the lead, and Mercedes are right on top. But you see, here's the thing. The thing is, Piastri asked him, I think even Lando asked him, what the hell, bro? Like, why did quite they could at least had different set of tires, for whoever is leading, they could have had different set of tires. Well, they didn't do it. Yeah, whatever. And the race starts, the race goes on, and Piastri is not happy, he's not confident, he's making mistakes, and he makes a huge rookie mistakes when he bangs right in on the side of Albon. Albon is having a very good race, and this guy does like a silly, shitty F2 mistake. He just straight up, no excuses, bangs on the side of Albon, gets a huge penalty. Albon is DNF'd. He's off the race. Now that starts off the story. The DNF story starts. Limblad is gone already. Albon is devastated. He's destroyed. He's gone. Piastri gets a huge penalty. And that was how the race started. And yeah, that was that. What's interesting is Albon had hope this season. Albon, at least this race, was like a good race for him. He was supposed to do well. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. That was the unfortunate situation. But these cars have become better. The spread of the cars in the grid is good. There's even spacing. All of these cars are pretty good. They're able to keep up with each other. I remember Max said in the cool down room that the cars are able to keep up with each other. We can actually race with these cars, which is a good thing. They're more nimble, they're more controllable. So they're figuring things out. Also, I was just checking on Aston Martin. Both the Aston Martins are here, but Adrian Newey is doing some, Adrian Newey shit with this car. They should just, put this car in the bin. There is nothing of hope here. This most successful race for them would be a race where both of them finish without, literally physically injuring themselves. That's what's going on there. And in the front, in the middle somewhere, the Alpine is really trying to fight in the midfield. I think special. Yeah, in the start, there's not much special. Alpine is just, really trying to hold that midfield gap. Hajar is usually fighting Colapinto. That's kind of what I saw. The next thing is Max. Max is very much in the race, is in top 5, and he's also pushing his way forward. Hamilton is somewhere there, and both of them are fighting. That's how the race goes. Then we go back to Mercedes. Mercedes are far away from the rest, okay? And they're on a race of their own. They're not racing the rest of them. Mercedes are racing their own. They're having a race of their own. It's like there are only 2 cars in the grid for them, and it's Kimi and Russell. And Russell and Kimi are nose to tail. They are right next to each other, just almost touching. Extraordinary drivers. I cannot believe how professional these 2 drivers are. Formula One is so lucky to have such fantastic, mature driving. This season, at least, that's what I see is we see a lot of mature drivers. And Max is an extraordinary driver, but Max is a huge problem. Max always skirts the rules. But this season, we are getting to see 2 or 3 teams who don't really skirt the rules. They still follow the rules and yet keep it very, very smart. Yeah, they're nose to tail. They're about to touch. It's a squeaky bum situation throughout the race. And yeah, they keep fighting. And there is a little bit of yo-yo racing, but now everybody knows what yo-yo racing looks like. So when there's a yo-yo moment, the broadcasters don't really talk about it. Yeah, they understand yo-yo. It's about who comes out on top. That's what matters. And often it's Russell. Okay, Russell is on top, always on top. Kimi now is not really, being a bitch about things. He's just calm. Basically, Toto said, "What would you do if Max was present? How would you defend?" And that's how they see it. They keep Max as the boogeyman, and everything wrong that could happen in the grid would be done by Max, according to Mercedes. So they're prepared for any Max contingencies. So yeah, regardless, Kimi is not fighting. Kimi is just holding on. He's not being a bitch about it. He's just nose to tail, both the Mercedes. They're on a league of their own. At the moment, it looks like the race is favoring Russell. But guess what happens? The bulletproof reliability is no more, folks. Yes, Mercedes built an extraordinary car. Yes, they did absolute legendary stuff in the sprint. Yes, they have something special. But they have their old reliability problems as well. So it's not super clipping. Something goes wrong somewhere. And the leader of the race, the one that everybody thought would win, the racers thought it, the whole everybody thought Russell's going to win this, has a disaster. Russell's car right at the middle, like the race this is basically the lineup what I said, but towards the middle of the race, around lap 30, Russell's car just dies, stops, completely gone. I mean, Kimi and Russell were fighting like Greek gods. They were, I mean, this was like an epic battle. And now, like, it's the third DNF. 3 cars are gone. Okay, 1 car did not start. So DNS and 1 DNS and 2 DNFs. What the hell is going on? And Russell is gone. He was devastated. The soul ripped right out of his body. He, on a fit of rage, take his headrest and throw it right in front of the car. Now, he could have thrown it to the side like a douchebag, but he threw it in front because he was considerate about the track. He did not want anybody to, hit the car thing, headrest. So yeah, he ripped his headrest open, he threw it away, and he jumped out of the car, went back behind the barricades or whatever, and he just stared at his dead car. He had nothing to say. He was just disappointed. It was a Ricardo in Monaco situation, when completely Red Bull fumbled the bag and screwed up Ricardo's amazing victory. That's exactly what Russell felt like. He was just staring at his dead, stupid car, just angry with all his choices. He was just shaking his head. The soul flew right out of his body. Now, everybody says, this was all there is, but I saw a lot of performance in there. Russell knows when the cameras are present. He was like shaking his head and stuff. George was just standing there like a possessed demon. But he knew the cameras were looking. He knew what's going on. So I did a bit of, performance for the camera. He's just shaking his head, just staring at it. But the truth is, this would be the clip. This will be that pivotal moment in his racing career where he did everything right. He looked undeterred. He looked like a man on a mission, completely, entirely in control. And he lost it completely out of his hand. Mercedes screwed up. There's no clear answer. They say the engine couldn't handle it, it overheated. Bunch of excuses. That's all I got. And I truly think that they messed up big time. And this is not the first time it's happened. I think it's the second one. So, yeah, they have issues. Anyway, it was terrible for George. George did everything right. He did not deserve it. I personally believe George is not ready to be a F1 champion, but more and more I notice that he's going to be that upset. He's going to be that upset vote. He's going to be that guy nobody wants to win, but he will win. That's what I feel. There's still hope here. The race is not over. The same thing has happened to Hamilton, so yeah, there's still a lot of chance. Okay, that was George's tragedy, which means now there have been several people who have been DNF'd. So there's Albon, there's George, there is Limblat, and in the middle somewhere, uh, Alonso left because apparently they made like a custom seat for Alonso. It didn't work out, and Alonso just said, "Screw this, I'm going home," and Alonso stopped. So that's 4 DNFs. Now, here's the thing. This is the kind of race where you have a chance. where the underdogs have a chance. They have to prove themselves. There is an opening for teams who are not as good, but the racers are good. The Williamses of the world, the Hasses of the world, the Alpines of the world. They have a chance of getting some serious, serious points. This is hope. The men from the boys get separated. The true animals find a way to get to some serious points. So the game is on and the race goes chaos. Okay, so now it is insanity mode. Everyone knows they have a chance in the podium because George is gone. And it looks like McLaren screwed up big time. There is a chance that a red car or a blue car could be on the podium. Then there is a chance that one of the midfielders could be on the podium. Anything could happen right now. The only truth is, Kimi Antonelli is going to win this. He's got this in the bag. The second and third position, those were up for grabs. So let's see what happens. Okay, so George moved forward. That was frustrating. He left, and along with him, Alonso somewhere left, and there was that in the middle. Uh, yeah, there were some things, and there was a cool incident where one of the field marshals came and picked the thing and went back into a portal into the grandstands or whatever, and he helped. Whatever, it was kind of cool seeing a field marshal quickly do the job. And yeah, the race continues, and yeah, now Alonso is out, but Hamilton is picking up momentum, and Verstappen is behind him, and Hadjar is there, and all these three are fighting for the podium. And also, there is no sight to be seen of Charles Leclerc. This time, Charles is like really cocked up. Nobody knows what's happening. Charles is nowhere to be seen. He's somewhere in the middle of the midfield or back in the midfield somewhere. Nobody knows. And okay, so disaster struck for Mercedes. Hamilton and Hadjar and Verstappen are on a fight. They are fighting for the podium. Piastri somewhere in the middle somewhere. Piastri had a huge penalty. He had to go back big time. And they are fighting, and the race continues. Kimi's already won the race. Like everybody knows, Kimi, give him a chance to win and he'll win. So Kimi is like super mature. He's very calm. He's not being a dick this time. The race is what matters. He wants his fourth consecutive win. It's a huge deal for him. It's very rare that these things happen for such young people. So he's on. He's gone. Nobody's catching him. It's over. You don't look at Kimi. Don't try to overtake him. It's pointless. Now it's Hamilton versus Verstappen. Back at it. Back in the old days, they're sort of fighting. And right after Alonso retires, disaster strikes for McLaren. They not just screwed up the strategy, they also screwed up their car. This was the second fastest car, and they have screwed it up big time. Lando abruptly stops. That's the fifth DNF, or the fifth not racing car in this race. It's over. Lando, who looked chill as fuck, he knew what he's doing. This race is just blown wide open. Now, if the backmarkers don't take a chance now, they are not gonna get this again. This is not gonna happen every time. They have to take these points. So yeah, this is the fifth retirement of this race. It's over. Disaster for Lando. After that is when the real race starts, real fight starts. Merc engines are on notice. There's something wrong with Merc engines. There are serious issues with it, but maybe they're not addressing it. Maybe they'll address it in Monaco or whatever. We'll see. Okay, so now Hadjar is in 10th place. No, Hadjar's on 10th place. Hadjar's somewhere in 4th place or something. And he's fighting. And he bobs and weaves a lot, and he moves under braking. He does a lot of tricky things to keep his lead above Charles Leclerc, and he gets a 10-second grid penalty. So yeah, that's gone, and he gets another penalty. Regardless, he loses by like 40 seconds, but yet he's had such a good race that he's still like 4th. So Hadjar is in the race. He's in the points. Charles Leclerc is past him, but he does not look good. Charles needs some serious motivation. Right now, his race is not looking good. Just like last race, it's going to be a disaster for him. Anyway, so Charles is still fighting. He's not happy. Something is wrong. The car's not slow, nor is it fast. It's just odd. That's what we got from there. But because of the 10-second penalty, Charles, passes Hadjar. Hadjar was 4th at one point, which was a great result for Hadjar. And yeah, they fight. Perez is fighting, and oh, great, Perez is gone. Right as I said, Perez is fighting. His front axle just breaks. He was right about to pit, and the car just falls in half. What the hell is going on? So that's like the sixth DNF now. So many DNFs. This is a disaster for all these races. And yeah, the race is on. They're fighting. It's a disaster for Perez. Whatever. Now more chances of getting points. Okay. So the people who really won this podium right now are the Ferraris and the Red Bulls. The Hajar is fighting tooth and nail with Charles Leclerc in the front and Colin Pinto behind him. He's like fighting, defending. He's doing anything to keep his position. Verstappen and Hamilton are fighting right above him. Piastri is gone somewhere. Nobody noticed. Piastri had a chance to be third, and he's gone now. Now the situation is basically Hamilton and Verstappen are nose to tail. Hamilton is fighting Verstappen. Verstappen is third, and his car is not good enough. His car cannot keep up. There is no pace. It's just true wizardry from Verstappen that keeps him in second. Hamilton knows this. Hamilton is waiting. He's like a shark in the water. He can smell blood, and he is right on his tail. He is touching him. He's biting. He's nibbling that car. And they fight. They fight big time. They're very happy about the fight. The good thing with these cars are they can keep up because of all the tech behind it. So yeah, they fight. Hamilton is weirdly good this race. Charles Leclerc is good, but not as good. He's just somewhere in the back. Number fourth, yeah, whatever. So they fight, and it's Verstappen, Hamilton. They don't necessarily yo-yo race. They truly, hold their own. But there is a like Verstappen's leading, not leading. Verstappen's second, and Hamilton's behind him, and everybody is got some hoping Verstappen will pull it off. And he kept defending. He kept defending. And finally, he had to, he just couldn't do it. So somehow Verstappen holds his ground until like the last 2-3 laps. And finally, Hamilton became vintage Hamilton, and he overtakes Verstappen right at the skin of his teeth. And it was a beautiful sight. This race is amazing and insane at the same time. So yeah, that happened. Kimi won. Hamilton at the last minute became P2, and Verstappen became P3. And it was insane. There was a chance that Verstappen on a shit car could have been P2. Only Verstappen could do the shit. Hajar also had a decent point. He was number 5th, and Leclerc was 4th. Then the interesting thing was Colapinto. Franco Colapinto has really come on his own this race. I don't know whether Canada has some magic in it. Nobody talks about Canada, but Canada is something special. Colapinto did it. He came number 6th, right below Hajar. Is very far away. Hajar had so many, penalties, but still Hajar kept the lead because he had a huge wide lead. But Colapinto defended. He somehow stayed on top. He fought Lawson. He fought Hajar, and he was number 6th. He was the best car amongst the Alpines. He really fought, and he's really come on his own. I know Flavio's really done something smart with Colapinto. Do I believe he's the next Messiah? No, he's going to be a good enough driver. Is he going to challenge? Is Colapinto going to challenge Gasly this season? We'll see. I don't see it happening. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, so Colapinto came 7th. And no, 6th, sorry. Hajar was 5th and Colapinto was 6th. And then Lawson behind him. Lawson did a very good job. They had to get those points. Lawson and Lindblad are really good drivers. And if one loses, the other one gets points. It's so good for RB. He came 7th, and Gasly was 8th. Both the Alpines on the points. That was a great news for the Alpines. They've been struggling lately, and they really tried. Out of nowhere, Carlos Sainz does what Carlos Sainz does. He just quietly gets some decent points for Williams. And Williams had a disastrous race, for Albon. Albon is good too. But yeah, Carlos Sainz comes 9th, and that's a good thing. And finally, Ollie Behrman, after a few bad races, got some points. He was in a really generational run the last couple of races, not the last race, the one before. And there was a chance he could be 4th, but it didn't happen. Regardless, number 10, great. Disaster for McLaren. A P3 car comes in P11. PS3 is number 11. Horrible race. They just did not know what they did. Terrible, terrible race for McLaren and the rest of them, whatever they tried. There are some serious doubts about Esteban Ocon. There are rumors that he'll be kicked out, but Esteban seems calm. Hajar got a stop and go penalty at the end. Even with that, he came in above Colapinto. Hajar did a good job, but he messed up so many times with penalties. Still, good for him. Got his penalties. Last race was a complete disaster, and now he did a better job. So good for Red Bull. Red Bull seemed to have figured it out. And are they going to be as competitive? Is Red Bull competitive, or is it Max Verstappen? That's the question. And the truth is, I think it's Max Verstappen. He's just doing it. And Red Bull has built a better car now. They already had a decent engine. They're figuring out their chassis. In a couple more races, I think they'll start fighting for podiums. Are they going to win any races? I doubt it. It's just not going to happen. I see a few more P2s in Max's future, and that's it. It's not going to be a magical moment for like Haja to come in on P3 and all that. I don't see it happening. But yeah, good for Hamilton, good for Verstappen. It's nice to see two bitter rivals, work together, sit in the cool down room where they were calm. Kimi was just nowhere to be seen. He just won and won so quickly with so much margin that he was just seen celebrating the whole time. Hamilton did a beautiful thing where he lifted Kimi and Bono helped him out as well. They sort of hoisted Kimi and gave him his, flowers, saying that Kimi has arrived. Kimi has officially got 4 race wins back to back to back. This is insane. Nobody expected this kid to win these many races this season. They expected a 1 win followed by a few seconds a third and another win. This was supposed to be George's season. And it's insane what this kid's doing. And if he wins a championship in his second season, I mean, there is nothing more to do. He can like jump off a building and die because there's nothing more he would ever achieve in his life. So yeah, this is crazy. Toto's made an extraordinary choice at Kimi. Kimi was very mature, very calm. Right in the second race, in the sprint, he looked completely paranoid, and in the final race, he looked completely calm. And this is what happens when you have a true demon behind the wheels. He doesn't think; he just acts. He just wants to get the gap. He just wants to win. That's all he cares about. So it's nice. It's nice to see Kimi winning again, and Hamilton also believes in him. But Kimi has has an edge that nobody has, that Hamilton had, and nobody else had. He has Bono. People keep forgetting how valuable Bono is. Bono has really, really mastered the craft of conversation, and m- Bono is, I think, the most important support that Kimi can have. And if anybody can help Kimi get his first world championship, it will be Bono. So yeah, it's amazing race for Kimi. Extraordinary entertainment at the front, disaster for the DNFs. So this race had everything. It had terrible, terrible DNFs and really, really good racing, and some true gems have been discovered. I'm really hoping more for Colapinto. Everybody loves an underdog. Hajar, we'll have to wait and see. He seems to be cracking under the pressure. We'll see. He did have a good race this season. This race, Verstappen, really great job. There's that Red Bull has no reason to be on the podium. It's insane that Red Bull car came third. Max is finally happy. Stop cribbing. He still says that these regulations are bad, but he's just keeping quiet for now. Anyway, that was the race. Now, next to the questions. Next thing we have to discuss is there are lots of questions. The first thing people ask is Kimi the Messiah? Is Kimi going to win everything? Is Kimi going to sweep the floor? At the moment, it looks like nothing can deter him. But the truth is, George was just as good. Kimi he didn't get lucky. He was very, very good. There was a chance that Kimi could have won, even with George fighting behind him. But George was no slouch. This was supposed to be George's race, which he lost, and not through no fault of his own. So George is still in the game, folks. Yes, there's a huge 40-point deficit right now between Kimi and George, but that was the same case with Hamilton. In the second or third race, he had a huge deficit and he came back. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Will George take the crown? We'll have to wait and see. Is Kimi the Messiah? No. He's not there yet. Give him a couple more races. If he wins by such high margins, then I'll crown him. Give him a couple more races. Monaco and I think Spain next. If he wins these two, then there is no hope. Because even if George has got all the fire in him, strategically he just cannot win this that easily anymore. Only somebody like a Verstappen can come back from this pit of hell. So yeah, give him a couple more races. If he wins again, back to back. That is, I God, if he wins two more, it's 6 races in a row. That's insane. I will see. But the same thing happened last year with McLaren. Everybody thought Piastri would win, and Piastri had a couple, 2, 3 mistakes, and that was the end. In his third race, he could have been a champion. Third season. But yeah, whatever. Piastri's also got his chance. We'll give him this chance. Eventually, he'll get his chance. But this is going to be a Kimi versus George situation, and we'll see what happens. I think I still bet on George over Kimi, but it's looking less and less like a reality. That's what I noticed. Okay, moving on to some F1 news. Interesting disaster, interesting situation. Leclerc has officially joined sort of an indefinite contract. They really want to lock down this kid. They're a bit afraid he'll leave. So yeah, that's whatever news. There is a chance, there's some rumors going on that Ocon is out, but there's no clarity on it. Anyway, Ocon does not look good. There's a chance that he could be out mid-season. Even though he did an okay race, but whatever. Perez is doing a really good job. Nobody notices it. Perez is back to vintage Perez, where give him a good car, make sure it's a well-balanced car, and he'll find a way to put it in the points. He's not gotten any points yet, but I can see some points in the future. Then the Mercedes Edge. They had this edge with these engines where the engines could heat up to a certain extent and hold on to that heat, which most others could not. This thing is gone. So in coming Monaco, the engines have had new regulations, new changes, which will favor the Ferrari engine over the Mercedes engine, because Mercedes have been doing some sneaky things and they've taken off. It's called the compression ratio situation. But regardless, the engines, whatever advantage the engines had until now, that's gone. They're allowed to find a new edge. Technically, if this were Red Bull, this would be their moment to shine. But since it's Ferrari, I do not believe they'll do much. We'll see. We'll wait and see if the Prince of Monaco, Charles Leclerc, does anything. But if Charles Leclerc does a good job in Monaco, then his entire season is going to be bad. So I don't know. I don't know whether I want him to win or not. The Monaco curse is a real curse. Anyway, yeah, we'll see what happens in the next race. I do not believe Ferrari is suddenly going to have a turnaround. I believe Mercedes have a solid car and even better drivers. Now, are they as good as Max Verstappen? No, but they are very much the top tier cream of the crop drivers. It is going to be a fight between Russell and Kimi. I really hope they don't, Monaco's a very tight track. I really hope they don't crash each other, because they really came close. Props to Toto to let them race, and given them, Toto seems to know his game when it comes to these disastrous fights. So we'll see. Result in some interesting races. Verstappen, we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. It feels like Verstappen's just completely given up on F1, but this season he's there. Whenever people ask him, are you going to leave F1? Verstappen never said yes. He's always said, I'm not leaving F1. I'm still very much here. He never said anything about Red Bull. There is a chance that this season, if they don't get enough points, Verstappen will be out. We'll have to wait and see. So that was a race. Good race. I think one of the best races so far. Canada, the Gilles Villeneuve track is a hidden gem nobody really talks about. Everybody raves about Brazil. Everybody raves about, China and stuff. But nobody talks about Canada. Canada is good. Canada and Kota, these are like good tracks. But I think it's also these cars. These cars are like cars worth fighting. Miami last time, also nobody talks good about Miami, and Miami gave a very good race. So the season is gonna be a bunch of highs and lows. I think there's gonna be a lot of DNFs this season, and then there are gonna be a lot of good races. I think Canada is gonna be a foreshadow of what is to come this entire season, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Monaco is a joke of a race. I don't really respect Monaco. Whoever comes in, whichever place they get in qualifying, is where they'll stay. So it's a qualifying track. And I'm not going to predict anything because I don't do predictions. I only see facts, and facts dictate Mercedes are going to be on top. Ferrari has an edge, but Ferrari being Ferrari, they'll screw it up somehow. McLaren, will be pissed. McLaren will not take this lying down. They're going to be on the top row for sure. Verstappen and Red Bull have some games to play. I think they're going to be in the points, but I don't think Hajar is going to make it to Q3. That's what I see. The rest we'll have to wait and see. And yeah, that's that. That was a race. Bye.